San Francisco 49ers. Where's their over-under? Oh, it's right there. They're at 10.5 as well. San Francisco.
Because, in large part, because they have by far the easiest strength of schedule in the NFL, according to Vegas win totals this year. They are comfortably the easiest schedule in the league this year.
Coming off a difficult schedule last year. I think any team that gets the Saints on the schedule is on the easy side. So, yeah, they're going to be at Seattle, at New Orleans to kick things off. So another one of those. We're going to start with 2 road games, and then you're sitting there like, all right, 8 out of the next whatever. Well, you can't say this anymore because it's a 17-game schedule. You used to be able to say, I know every team has 8 home and 8 away. I don't know if you have 9 home or 9 away these days. That's the other thing to hate about the 17-game schedule. You just can't know off the top of your head anymore. But anyway, they start with 2 on the road. Fascinating story this year with the Niners as they transition to more of Brock Purdy's team, more of the driver rather than the passenger, for lack of a better term, especially coming off this new contract here.
Yeah, well, so that's the big dynamic shift, right? Is like now they're no longer in this world of having literally the most valuable quarterback contract in the NFL of a good quarterback, whatever we think about how good, a good quarterback playing on literally the cheapest contract it's possible to have him on. He would be earning more money if he was an undrafted free agent than he was as Mr. Irrelevant with the last pick of the entire draft. So they've gone from having the best value contract in the game to suddenly he might be a good value contract for second contracts, but he's still getting $53 million a year. So that is going to change the dynamic of what they're able to put around him with the rest of the roster. That being said, we can already see the effect. Like they've already done that. They have made the changes to accommodate this contract that was coming down the pipe. So that's why Deebo Samuel is no longer on this roster, right? That was effectively a contract move to shift away a big contract with Deebo and go in a different direction so they can, in part, move that money around. So we can look at what this impact is, and it'll have an impact, but they still have Brandon Ayuk. They still have George Kittle. They still have Christian McCaffrey. They still have Juwan Jennings. They have Ricky Pearsall from last year who barely factored because he got shot before the season started. They still have Trent Williams, and now Brock Purdy is there as well. The pieces are still there for this offense to be as good as it's been for the entirety of the Shanahan Brock Purdy dynamic. Like there's no reason this has to take a step back given what they have. Now the question is, I think on the other side of the ball, which is, Javon Hargrave left in the offseason. You've still got Nick Bosa, but now you're relying heavily on the rookie class. Michael Williams needs to be pretty good right away. Otherwise, you don't have another edge rusher to speak of. You've got Alfred Collins. You've got CJ West. Those rookie defensive tackles really need to make an impact against the run. Otherwise, the interior may be a real problem. So, you've still got Bosa. You've still got Fred Warner. You've got a couple of other young guys that have shown something in the last couple of years, but this is relying heavily on a draft class that needs to be good immediately. And this has been a bad drafting team for the last few years.
Just to back up your point on the schedule thing, as the chat highlights, they're playing both the AFC and NFC South this year. Those are the divisions they're playing. So the NFC South, which we know has been one of the weaker divisions in the NFL the last couple of years, the Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Bucks. And then the AFC South, how hard could it be? I think they're on the upswing, Sam, but the Texans, Jags, Colts, and Titans, bunch of teams that, picking near the top of the draft last year. And, 3 teams that were picking near the top of the draft last year. So that's why the NFL happens the way it does, right? Schedule quirks and strength of schedule and everything. And it matters a ton. So it does feel like for a team, let's be serious, the Niners compared to where they've been the last 3 or 4 years, this is a rebuild relative to where they've been. It doesn't mean they're stripping it down for parts, as you would always like to say, but it's not as star heavy despite all the stars that you just listed on the team. So they still have a good nucleus, not as strong as it's been previously, but I think it coincides nicely with a more favorable schedule here. So where are you going to go? Over, under? I'm going to lean under because of that. But yeah, the schedule is tough to ignore, even though, strength of schedule changes. Like it's pretty dynamic trying to predict
right
how good teams are. But on paper, it does look like it is pretty favorable for the Niners here.
I will go under, but I think they will win 10 games. So I think they'll be the second best team in the division. I think they'll win 10 games, but I'm not giving them over 10.5.
Yeah, I could see that.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.